We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks practice. Today in this video we'll be discussing the problem of the day for 19th of Feb. The name of the problem is find the number of islands. So please consider giving me a +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to everyone and the screen is visible, so that I can start with this particular problem as soon as possible. Also let me know how many of you have solved this problem of the day yesterday, so that I can get an idea and what was your approach while solving this particular problem. All of you can just let me know in the comments if my voice is clearly audible and the screen is visible, so that we can start with this problem as soon as possible. Okay, so I can see a couple of people have started joining, so all of you can just hit the like button and please give me a +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to everyone, right? So that we can start with this particular problem. So in this problem what we have to do is we have to count the number of islands. We have to find the number of islands for this particular problem. So all of you just give me a quick +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to everyone and the screen is visible, and we'll be starting with this problem, right? Okay, so I'll start with this problem. Like for this particular problem, that is find the number of islands. So I'll write the name of this particular problem. So in this what you have to do is basically, as the name suggests, you have to find the number of islands, right? So you have to find the number of islands and they will be telling you what is an island and how you will be considering a particular island for the test case. I guess some issue is there with the notification, so the notification has been sent now. I'll just wait for 1 more minute, Zad and others. I'll just wait for 1.5 minutes more, 90 seconds more, so that everyone else can join for this particular stream, because the notification has gone a little late. So in this problem what you have to do is you will be given a grid, that is you'll be given a matrix of zeros and ones. Basically you'll be given a binary grid, and this particular problem previously has been asked in Amazon, Dshaw, Intuit, LinkedIn, Microsoft, Oyo, Paytm, Snapdeal, Flipkart, Google, Make My Trip, Visa. Every company has asked this question, so it's a very popular question and it's an easy medium problem. I'll not say it's a medium problem, it's actually an easy medium problem, right? So all of you just hit the like button, quickly hit the like button and give me a +1 in the chat if you think that I should start with this problem, right? So in this particular problem, let's first read the problem statement. So the problem says that you will be given a grid of n cross m size, right? So you'll be given a grid that will be of size n cross m, right? And it will be containing elements as zeros and ones, right? N is the number of rows in this particular grid and m is the number of columns for this particular grid, right? So what you'll be doing is, in this particular grid there would be some zeros, right? Let's suppose that this is one of the grids. Let's say 1 1, then 0 0, a lot of zeros are there, suppose, and then 1, let's say 1 1, and let's say 0 and 1, right? If this is one of the type of grids that is present there, so if this grid is present there, so in this case what does 1 indicate? 1 indicates land, right? 1 indicates land and 0 indicates water, right? Is this much part clear to everyone? Okay, right? So what you have to do is you have to find the number of islands in this particular grid. How will you do this? So let's say you have 1 1 0 0, let's say 0 0 0 1 1 1, and then 0 and 1. Like, if suppose that this is the particular grids that's been given to you, so I've taken 3 cross 4 size of grid, right? So currently my dimension is 3 cross 4. It could be anything given. So in this what you have to do is you have to consider 0 as water and 1 as land. You have to find the number of islands that are present there, right? So in this problem it is saying that an island is surrounded by water from all the sides. An island is surrounded by water and is formed by connecting adjacent islands horizontally, vertically, or diagonally in all the directions, right? So what I can do is, let's suppose that I am at a particular cell, right? Suppose that I am at a particular current cell, right? Is this much part of the problem clear to everyone? Let's suppose that I am at a particular current cell. So with this particular current cell, what I can do is I can either go up, I can go right, I can go left, I can go down, I can go diagonally towards the left, diagonally upward towards the left, and this direction and this direction. So I can go in 8 different directions. And if I find a land, if suppose that at this particular position I'll find a land, so I'll consider it as a one combined island, right? So for this particular case, let's say for this particular case, right, let's say I was at this particular island. If I was at this island, so I can see that, okay, towards this direction and this direction, nothing is there, right? All these directions I have nothing. In the downwards direction I have a 0, so that means that is also not valid. In the diagonal direction like this, it is 0, so I'll not consider this as well. Then this direction is not valid as well. Then only this direction, right direction, in the right direction I am having a 1, right? So that's why I'll consider this as a complete island, right? This much part will be considered as a complete island, because for this particular one, for this one its left is having a 1, so that is I've already seen. But in the down, in all the other 8 directions, I can see that there is nothing much existing, right? So that is why this particular part will be considered as one complete island. Then for this particular one, I can see that okay, if I go in all the 8 directions, I will not find any other adjacent one, so that is why this will be considered as one complete island. Now if I was at this particular cell, so I can say that okay, this and this is also included in this island. So what will happen is this complete portion I'll consider it as an island. So how many islands are there? 3 islands are there, right? Please give me a quick +1 in the chat if you have understood this part. Please write clear in the chat and give me a +1 in the chat if up till now everything is clear to all of you, so that I can proceed further, right? Is everything clear up till now? You can just let me know in the comments that how we are taking the number of islands that we have. If you want to see the sample test case, so I'll show you. So suppose this is the sample test case. Okay, so suppose this is the sample test case. I'll just draw it for you. 1 0. Just let me see. 0 1. Okay, this is 0 1, then 1 1, and then let's say it was 0 1, something like this, right? Okay, so if this was like this, okay, is this much part clear to everyone? You can just give me a +1 in the chat if up till now things are clear to everyone, right? Now if I am talking about this particular first test case, so I can say that okay, for this particular island this is diagonal, right? For this particular land this is diagonal and this is down, so I'll consider this and this as well. For this particular one it is diagonal, so I'll consider this as well. So what will happen ultimately the thing that I want to say is that this complete will be considered as one island. This one, all the ones will be considered as one island. So for this particular grid, I'll consider that okay, one island is present, right? One island only is present, right? Is up till now everything is clear, right? I hope that it's clear, because from this particular cell I can go to all the 8 directions, right? I'll draw it up for better purpose, for if you want a better understanding. So I'll draw it for you like this, so that you can understand it a little bit better. Okay, so let's try and see. If you were at this particular cell, so you can see that okay, diagonal is having 1, so I'll say okay, this is also connected. Then down, in the down direction and in this direction also these are connected, right? Then for this it's down and this it's also connected. So I can safely say that okay, all these are connected in single one island, right? So they are not different islands, basically all of them are one island, right? So that's why I'll write that okay, for this particular cell the total number of islands that I have is 1, right? This much part must be clear to everybody. Now the thing is, let's look at the next test case. Let's look at another test case. So let's say if this was 1 1 1 and this was 0, this was 0, this was 0, this was 0, this was 0. Suppose that this was 1 1, suppose this was 1, suppose this was 0 0 0, and suppose this was something like 1 and 0, right? If this was the case, then in that case I can safely say that okay, this much part is one island, right? Then this part is the second island, because all these are connected in all the 8 directions if I'm moving. So I'll find eventually that these are connected, and then this is also connected, right? So here I can say that 3 islands are present. It will depend on the answer whether 3 islands are present, 2 islands are present, or another number of islands are present. Like if it was 0, then in that case 2 islands would be present, right? So can someone tell me how we can do this? If you will try to, hi Shreya, is this problem clear to everybody, the number of islands? I hope that up till now the problem statement is clear to everyone, that I have to, for a particular cell, when I'm at a particular cell I comma j, what I have to do is, I have to move in all the 8 directions, up, down, left, right, then top left, top right, and down right, down left, right? All these 8 direction I have to move. If I find something is connected, in that case I have to consider it as one complete island. So in this way I can see that okay, this is one island and this is one island, so total 2 islands are there, right? How can we do this particular question? So if I'll move down to check the next test case, so if you will see the next test case, so the next test case is something like this, right? So you can see that okay, all these blue ones are connected, right? These 3 ones and these 2 ones, these 5 ones are connected together, so this is forming one island, and this one red one is connected separately, so that's why it's separately connected, so that's why it's another island, right? So total 2 islands for this one. Now it's not necessary that overall 2 or 3 islands would be there, that depends on the grid size, right? How I can do this problem? So I can see that okay, this problem can be seen as a graph, right? How I can see it as a graph? Because what I have to do is, if I am at a particular cell I comma j, right? If I am at a particular cell I comma j, and if that particular cell is having a value 1, so what I have to do is I have to move in all the 8 directions all the 8 directions, and I have to check that in all the 8 directions whether a cell is 1 or not. If the cell is 1, if suppose I move down, suppose that I move down and this particular cell was 1, right? So in that case, what I have to do is I have to check in all the 8 directions for this particular cell as well, right? Similarly, I'll have to keep on expanding like this, right? So this is how I have to do. So what I can say is, I can say that this is nothing but applying a DFS, because I'm moving in all directions, right? So this is nothing but applying a DFS on a graph, right? On a graph, right? This is some similar to this. Please give me a +1 in the chat if you up till now you have understood this much part, right? If up till now you have understood everything, so you can give me a +1 in the chat, right? I'm going in the depth wise fashion, right? So basically what I'm doing is, suppose you give me a particular grid, right? Let's take this grid. So let's say that you give me 1 1 1, then 0, then you give me several zeros, and then you give me 1 this here, and 0 0 and 1, like or you give me something like this. Let's say 0 1 and 1, right? So what I can say is, this is one island, this is one island, this is one island, right? What I'll do is if I'm here, I'll start from every cell, right? And I'll say that, okay, I need the concept of visited here, because suppose if I'm here, right? If I'm here, so I'll say that, okay, this one is connected with this, then this one is connected with this. So I'll consider this as one island, right? I'll consider this as one island, right? Then if I've considered this as one island, so when I am here, so then I'll not check for this direction, and I'll say that, okay, this is connected. I'll not count it twice, I'll just count it one time, right? So that's why I need to have a concept of visited as well. Why? Because suppose if I was here, right? If I was here, then I'll say that this one is connected to this one, so that means this is forming one island. But in that case, you could have also told me that, okay, this one, when I'm at this one, so I'll check for this one, and these two are connected, so I'll say that, okay, this is one island. But I don't need to do that, because what is happening, if I am at this one and I have seen this one, so I'll mark it as visited, so that I can say that, okay, this is one complete island, so that I don't count any number of islands twice or more than once, or I'm not stuck in an infinite loop kind of a situation, right? I hope that this much part makes sense to everyone. Please hit the like button, guys, if you have understood up till now. Now the thing is, how will I do this? So I'll apply simply a BFS. I can say if I need to move in all the 8 directions. So if suppose my current cell is what? If suppose I will draw these cells for you so that you can understand it better. So let's say if this was 0 0, then I had 0 1, I had 0 2, then let's say I had 1 0. I'm drawing all the test cases, all the grids, so that you can understand how we will be moving. 1 0, 1 1, then 1 2, I have 2 0, I have 2 1, and I have 2 2, like this, right? So suppose the I j cell is this one, this cell is I j, right? Suppose this cell is I j, so my I is 1 and j is 1, right? So if I am at a particular, first of all, I'll be making a visited array, right? You can give me a +1 in the chat if you agree with me. I'll be making a visited array so that I just visit every cell only once, right? So I'll be making a visited array, and I'll be marking every value, for the visited, every node for the visited, I'll be marking as 1. So visited of every ij will be 1. Will be 0, right? So that means it will not be visited. Initially, I'll not consider it to be visited, right? This is what I'm saying. Now, next up, what I'll do is, suppose that I was at this particular ij, right? Suppose I was at this particular ij. So what will I do? If this is my ij, I need to move towards the up, right? If I need to move towards the up side, so for the up, I can say that the index would be I minus 1 comma j, right? Let me change the color of the pen. So if I was moving up, so this is nothing but I with respect to this ij, that is yellow, 1 comma 1, this index is I minus 1 and j, right? With respect to it, if I'm moving in this direction, so this index is what? I minus 1 and j plus 1, right? Because j is increasing, I is decreasing. Here what is happening? I comma j plus 1, right? Here, because I'm moving in this direction. If I'm moving in this direction, so it is I plus 1 comma j plus 1, like this, right? If I'm moving down, so I can say that it is nothing but I plus 1 comma j will remain constant, like this. I'm trying to show you like how everything is happening in all the 8 directions. Like you can see, these are the 3 directions, this is the 4th direction, this was the 5th direction, then I'm showing you here as well. So here it will be nothing but I plus 1 comma j minus 1. You can see here it will be what? I comma j minus 1, right? In this direction it will be nothing but I minus 1 comma j minus 1, right? So you can see that these are the combinations that I'll have. If I want to move in the top left corner from this I comma j, if I want to move to the top left corner, it will be I minus 1 j minus 1. If I want to move up, so it will be I minus 1 comma j. All these types of traversals, like only then I'll be moving, right? If I want to check for the other cells, so I'll be checking it like this. Now if I'm checking for a particular cell, right, so I also need to check that, okay, let's say the I update it, right? So I update my current I, right? I update my current I and current j, right? So I update my current I and current j. So I also need to check whether those current I and current j are lying in the range or not, whether that current I is present in this range if I am doing it this way. So I also need to keep a track that whether whatever current I am making, right, by manipulating it by plus 1 minus 1 in whichever direction I am going. So I also need to check that whether that current I is in the range, considering a zero based indexing, whether it is in this particular range or not, right? And I also need to check whether my current j or the column is in this range or not, that is, it is greater or equal to 0 and it is lesser than m or not, right? This is something that I need to check, right? So this is something that I will need to keep a check on, right? Please give me a plus 1 in the chat if you have understood up till now, right? So how will I do this? So let's suppose that the example that I had made for you guys, so let's say it was 1 1 1 0, then I had 0 0 0 0 and I had 1 0 1 1, right? If this was the thing that I had, so what I could do for this particular case was, if I am here, right, so if I'm at this particular index, so what I can observe is I will run a loop, right? I will run a loop for I starts from 0, I is lesser than n and I plus plus, right? And what I'll do is I'll run another loop because I want to traverse this complete cell, so j is lesser than m and j plus plus, right? What I will do is, if this particular current cell, suppose this grid is named as a, so what I want to do is, if my a of ij, if a of ij is equal to what? If it's equal to 1, if the current cell is 1 and it's not been visited, and visited of a of ij is equal to 0, right? If it's equal to 0, in that case what I'll do is I will call the DFS function. I'll call DFS of I comma j for this, right? I'll call the DFS function for this particular cell, and for this particular cell I'll call the DFS function for I comma j, and I'll always have a visited, right? So now when I'll go to the DFS, so what I'll do is I'll traverse in all the 8 directions. I'll traverse in all I'll call the DFS function. I'll check that, okay, I'll check in, let's suppose that I'm checking in the right direction, right? For this particular cell, let's suppose that I'm checking in the right direction. So I'll check that, okay, if it is 1, then I'll call the DFS for it, right? Now I'll check, similarly I'll check for the down direction. If I'm checking in the down direction, so if that cell is 0, in that case I'll not do it, right? Similarly, let's say if my current I comma j cell was this particular cell, right? So I know that this particular one cell is visited, this very first one is visited. So if this is the cell that I am having, right, if this one is the cell that I am having, so in that case, if I will not move here, why? Because this particular cell must have been already visited. So I'll only visit a cell if it is 1 and it is not visited in the DFS as well. And what I'll do is, as many number of times, if I get this one, right, if I get this one, so I can say that, okay, this one will help me to get this particular island, right? And everyone will be marked as visited, right? So what will happen is, I'll whenever I am calling a DFS for I comma j, I'll do count plus plus. Initially I'll mark my counter as 0, and every time I am calling a DFS call, I'll do count plus plus. Like every time in the main function I am calling a DFS call for I comma j, I'll mark it as, I'll increment my count as 1. Why? Because this will help me to count that, okay, this is one of the islands, right? So this will make the counter as 1, so this was 1 island. Then I'll be here, so this will be marked as 1 island. Then I'll be here, so this will be marked as 1 island, and when I'll reach this last one, so the DFS will not be called for it because it's not visited, right? So it's already visited, right? So that's why total 3 islands will be there, because my count will increment 3 number of times. So you can give me a plus 1 in the chat if you agree with me, right? Because when I'll be at this particular, suppose my I and j is this, so I'll not be calling the DFS for this one. Why? Because I have already visited all these nodes, right? So although this is 1, but still it is visited, so that's why I'm not visiting it. That's why I'm saying that if it is 1 and it's not visited, then I'm calling the DFS in the main function and I'm doing a count plus plus, right? I hope that this much part is clear to everybody. Please give me a plus 1 in the chat if you have understood this much part. So let me show you how I am trying to deal with this particular approach. What I did was, basically I'm using a memset, that is basically I'm taking a visited array and I'm marking every node of the visited array as 0, right? Every one as 0. So you can run a loop for it as well. Then I'm marking my count as 0. What I'm doing is I'm running for I and j, right? And what I'm checking is, if I'm running for I starts from 0, I is lesser than n, and j starts from 0, j is lesser than m. And what I'm doing is, if the current cell is not visited, if the visited of ij is equal to 0, if the current cell is not visited, right? If the current cell is not visited and the value in that particular cell is 1, so that means that it is a land. In that case, what I need to do is I need to do c++ or count plus plus, right? I need to increment my count. You can instead of c, you can write it as count. That depends on you. So I'll write it as count for better clarity. So I need to count it because this is one of the islands opportunity that I have, and I know that with this particular one, if I'm calling for this particular one, then I know that if I'm calling for this particular one, then I'll be able to get I'll iterate with the DFS on all this completely. Bhaiya DSA self post में recursion practice problem नहीं है, then where to solve optimum number of problems like any other Pradeep I'll let you know, just let me complete this much part of the problem, right? So I know that up till now I'll complete it, right? But if my ij is this cell, then I'll not call DFS for this, right? Similarly, I'll not call DFS for this because it's already visited. So this is how I'm counting one of the islands. Then I'll count this island, then I'll count this island, and when I'll be at this one, so I'll not be calling the DFS because it's already called. So that's how I'll be doing it, and that's how my count will get updated. Now let me show you how the DFS function is working. Basically, every time I'm calling the DFS for the grid visited I comma j and the n comma m, so what I'm doing is I'm calling a DFS call, and I need to check that whether I'm calling, it might happen, right? I told you that it might happen that for a particular cell the upper cell might not exist, right? How it might not exist? So let's suppose that if this was 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 1, something like this, right? So if I was at this particular cell, then for this particular cell in this direction and this direction, I don't need to move, right? Because all these cells are not existing, right? Because this is the topmost cell. So if this is a boundary cell, in that case all these cells are not existing, right? So that's why I need to keep a check that if my particular I comma j that I have updated, if they are in the range or not, if I is in the range of the row as or not, if I is lesser than 0 or I is greater than equal to n, or j is lesser than 0 or j is greater equal to m, in that case I need to return, because that will give me an error if I'll traverse for that particular cell, right? If I'll check for that particular cell, because it is actually not present. And otherwise, if this particular current cell is 0, in that case also I need to return, right? If I am going, suppose I was going down and in the down cell is 0, so I'll just come back from it, right? And if it's not 0, then I'll check whether it's visited or not. If it's not visited, then I'll mark it as visited, and I'll call the DFS in all 4 directions, DFS in all 8 directions, right? All 8 directions. I'll call the DFS in all 8 directions. That is what I'm doing. So that's why what will happen, all the 8 directions DFS will be called I plus 1 comma j, all these directions, as I've already told you about this, right? I have already taken this example where I was telling you, like you can see it here, you can rewind the video back, like I told you, right? Suppose that this particular cell was my ij cell, then in that case, if I'm moving up, right, top left, top right, every corner if I'm moving, so how I'm updating my i's and j's, right? So this is what I'm doing, and like just simply that will be done. And once for every cell I've traversed, so I'll simply return the count. And this is nothing but if I'll talk about this problem, so if I have to give this problem a specific name, so it will be very similar to counting the number of connected components, right? Counting the number of connected components in a grid, or you can say graph, right? So is this much part of the problem clear to everyone? This problem, as I told you, it has been asked in Amazon, it has been asked in Flipkart, it has been asked in Google, it has been asked in D-Shop. Every other company has asked this particular problem. So make sure to solve problem of the day every day, so that you are updated with what is happening and what are the problems that you are doing. It might happen that you might skip some of the problems, right? So that's why it's very much important to stay in touch with the problem of the days. Guys, please hit the like button and give me a +1 in the chat. Shreya, Zaid, Pradeep and others, just give me a +1 in the chat. If you are comfortable with the explanation and everything, you can just hit the like button and give me a quick +1 in the chat, right? So this was the problem of the day for today, and the problem of the day for yesterday. The problem of the day for today is smallest absolute difference. So make sure to solve it. 8 hours are left for solving this problem. If you will solve this problem, if you will solve this one problem, so what you will get is, you will get 1 geek coin, right? If you will solve it on that particular day, so you will get 1 geek coin. And I'm saying that if you have 100 geek coins, right, right? If you have 100 geek coins, then in that case, if you solve it 100 days regularly, then what will you get? You will get one t-shirt, right? You will get one t-shirt from Geeks for Geeks, and other goodies are also there, but the minimum that you require is 100 geek bits, right? 100 geek coins, and you'll get it. Like if you want to check for all those things, so you can also check out all these things, right? All these things are mentioned, so make sure to solve it every day. Getting one geek bit and getting goodies from places like Geeks for Geeks helps a lot, right? So this was it from my side for today. And as I told you, the time complexity, since I am traversing, what will be the time on the space complexity? Let me discuss about that as well. So the time complexity for this particular approach, since I am iterating every node exactly once, because I'm keeping a check whether I visited it or not, so that will be order of n cross m, right? The time complexity. And the space complexity, since I am calling it using a DFS kind of an approach, so it will be also order of n cross m, and also I'm using visited array, right? So that's why it will be order of n cross m. I hope that this problem is clear to everyone, and this is how you can do it using DFS. Another way, there was another way to do this as well. I'll show you. Just like another way to do it was like, you don't need to write I plus 1 j plus 1. You don't need to remember that. You can create a table like this, right? You can create a table like, as I told you, i's and j's are changing, right? So change in the change dx is the change, right? So if you're calling for the DFS function, and if you have current x and y, so you can run a loop for all the 8 directions, because all the 8 combinations are present for the current ith index. Dx of I and dx of y will give me the change, right? So I can change current x and current y, like x plus dx of k, x plus y plus dk dy of k, right? Like this. And then I need to check that whether my current x and current y are lying in the ranges or not. If they are lying, then I need to check that whether current x is and y cell is 1 or not, and whether it is visited or not. If it is not visited and it's 1, then I'll visit it and I'll call the DFS call. So this will make the task a little bit easier, because I don't need to write it this way, but still it's the same approach. Even if you write this particular approach in an interview, so that's perfectly fine, but writing that particular approach will save some lines for you. So you are saying that DSA self-paced course mein recursion practice problem nahi hai. So then where to solve optimum number of problems like any other topic? What you can do is, you can go to practice.geeksforgeeks.org, right? You can go to practice.geeksforgeeks, right? This website, practice.geeksforgeeks. .org. You can go to this website, and what you can do is, you can select a tag of recursion, and whichever companies you are targeting, you can suppose you are targeting Amazon, you are targeting a lot of companies like this, Amazon, Flipkart, so you can select the company tags, and you can select this recursion kind of topic or whatever you are saying. So you can practice those problems which are asked in an interview. If you will solve 10 to 15 problems, then in that case you will get it, right? So that's how you can do it. Also, there is one more thing, that is must do interview problems. So I guess must do interview, if you will search must do interview problems Geeks for Geeks, so the website would come, and on that particular page, what will happen is, on that particular page the recursion problems are mentioned that are must do for interview. So you can also do that. Apart from this, you can go to practice.geeksforgeeks.org. You can select the tag of recursion, you can select all the companies that you are targeting, and you can solve all the questions that are asked in the interview, right? So this was it for the problem of the day for today. All of you can just hit the like button if you have understood this particular problem and everything is clear to everyone, right? All of you can just hit the like button and give me a +1 in the chat. Also, we have a channel that is Code Era, so you can consider to subscribe that channel. That channel you can find in the featured channel of this playlist, or you can just search on Google. You can just search for Code Space Era and the channel will come. So on this channel we upload a lot of videos like lead code, code forces and everything, so you can consider to watch it. And if there's fun, if you like this video and after this video is over, if you are watching it, so you can make sure to give a feedback, like if you liked it, so you can write understood it in the chat after this problem is over. And if you solve the problem, lead code problem of the day for today, that is 20th of Feb, so come down after this after this video is over, come in the comments after you solve this problem. So make sure after you solve the problem of the day for today, make sure to come to this video back and comment down that I have solved the problem of the day for today, that is 20th of Feb, so that I can understand. Thanks a lot Shreya, thanks a lot Vanshika Kapoor, and thanks a lot everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next live. Till then, take care, goodbye, and happy coding guys.